Right. Can I have nomination for chair, please? Nomination for chair? Mm. You just put your mic on.
It just puts me in an awkward position, really. But if it has to be, it has to be.
So, Councillor Waheed, are you nominating Councillor Miles? Councillor Petts, are you seconding that nomination?
Yes.
Okay, Councillor Miles, it's over to you. Can I just say that when anybody's speaking in the chamber, you need to put your mics on. Otherwise, the live stream, the people who's listening through the live stream won't be able to hear what's happening within the chamber. And then when you finish speaking, you can turn your mics off. But if you forget to turn your mics off, I can control it from here. Councillor Miles, you need to decide whether the papers in front of you, whether you want to move the meeting into private or you want it to remain in public.
I think the decision's been made that it be held in public.
Okay. So within the paperwork, you have the private minutes from the last meeting. I don't know if anybody was at that meeting. Are they a correct record of the meeting?
Yeah, as far as I can see, the minutes are accurate from the last meeting.
So do you agree there's a correct record for the chair to sign?
I do.
You can now move on to the case that's in front of you at item 4. When you, Samantha.
I don't know if the clerk wants to go through the procedure.
Okay.
I think that's what we're supposed to do, isn't it? So if I just go through the procedure briefly. So we've elected the chair. The chair will give a brief outline of the allegation before the panel and introduce the members of the panel. The independent person is present, panel's advisor, the deputy monitoring officer in this case, and any other persons present. Panel's advisor will then outline the procedure. So the hearing will normally be in public, as we've already decided. And the panel may take legal advice in private if necessary from the panel's legal advisor at any time during the hearing or while they are considering the outcome. So the procedure for this morning, the monitoring officer will present the report to the allegation against the subject matter, outlining the substance of the allegations, setting out the matter in which it is alleged that he or she has breached the council's code of conduct for members and in relation to that allegation. The panel may then question the monitoring officer. The monitoring officer will sum up her case. The independent person, if present, will give his or her views to the panel. The panel's advisor will then raise any points that need to be raised before the matter is determined. The panel will then retire and all those present except the panel's advisor and any person solely for the purposes of taking notes of the meeting will then withdraw. The hearing has been in public and the panel consider it appropriate. They'll need to pass a resolution under section 100A(4) of the Local Government Act 1972 to exclude the public from the meeting before deliberating in private. And the panel must take into account the views of the independent person before reaching a decision. Chair, I think that's the procedures for you this morning.
Thank you, Chair. So I think it's for everybody to introduce themselves first of all.
Ward.
Councillor Jack Petts for Icknield Ward.
Councillor Yasmin Wahid of Northwell Ward.
Simon Bullock, independent member. Andrew Maslin, independent member.
Deborah Maggs, independent person.
Brendan Delaney, solicitors for the council.
Samantha McKeeman, deputy monitoring officer.
Angela Fraser, Democratic Services, and I'm taking the notes for this meeting.
Thank you, Chair. Shall I present the report? You have before you a report. This is to enable the local assessment panel to make a determination as to the course of action to be followed in respect of a complaint against Councillor David Franks. The committee must decide whether to either refer the allegation to the council's deputy monitoring officer for more in-depth investigation, or after consultation with the deputy monitoring officer for other action, or to refer the allegation to another organisation for investigation. This would usually only be done when there's an allegation for example, a criminal offence and you wanted it to be investigated by the police or something like that, or whether to take no action in respect of the allegation. The background is that on the 9th of August 2021, Councillor Javira Hussain submitted a complaint relating to a statement made by Councillor David Franks, who is the subject matter member, during the meeting of the Overview and Scrutiny Board on the 2nd of August 2021, the details of which are set out in a statement of complaint dated the 9th of August and are appended to this report. In summary, the complaint stems from a meeting of the Overview and Scrutiny Board on the 2nd of August 2021, where the subject member made assertions about the Luton Direct Air Rail Transit, or DART. At the meeting, the board considered the London Luton Airport's monitoring report 2020. During the course of questioning on this item, the subject member made assertions about the testing of the Luton DART and said he had heard that there had been significant problems, including trains coming off the tracks, and stated there were issues with the traction and the pulley system. The assertions were a surprise to the complainant, Councillor Javira Hussain, who is the chair of the Luton Airport Limited, LAO, and the Luton Borough Council senior officers. The complainant responded by stating LAO were not aware of the test issues with the Luton DART and would need to investigate outside the meeting. The assertions made by the subject member were subsequently reported in the press the next morning on the 3rd of August 2021. The assertions have since been publicly refuted, and the CEO issued a robust statement on the 3rd of August that the statements made by Councillor Franks were wholly unfounded and entirely inaccurate. It is alleged that the lack of care, attention and due diligence in checking the facts before making the assertions has the potential for causing significant reputational and economic damage to Luton and impact public confidence in the council. In response, Councillor Frank said that he was not making an assertion, which is a positive statement, but merely repeating something that had been said to him. He made the point that two of the directors of LAO were present and the chair of the board would have been aware of the DART testing programme, and he would have expected them to respond at the meeting if what he said was untrue. He stated he did not disregard facts, as he did not have any facts and he was seeking facts. The relevant obligations of the code, Councillor Javara Hussain's complaint alleges a breach of the following obligations of the Code of Conduct for members and co-opted members. At 3.6, council not to conduct themselves in a manner which could reasonably be regarded as bringing his/her office or the authority into disrepute. The initial tests were satisfied in that the subject member was an officer at the time the incident complained of, had formally accepted the Code of Conduct and was acting in his capacity as a councillor. The code is therefore engaged. Consider whether whether the alleged misconduct, if proven, would breach the code of conduct, and satisfied that it would indeed be the case. In considering the nature of the allegation, I also considered the independent person, and the independent person concurred that the matter should be referred to yourselves, the local assessment panel, for consideration. And there is a number of documents that are appended to this, which are the initial complaint, the initial assessment from the independent person, the response from Councillor Franks, and the internet links to the meeting, so you could hear it yourselves. Unless I can assist further.
So any questions to the Deputy Monitoring Officer?
I wasn't actually present, but I did watch the meeting on YouTube. And some of the bits in between the question, I couldn't pick up on YouTube. But my main concern was, I considered that listening to the questions, I mean, I've been faced with the same situation, people coming up to me and asking questions about the DART, and only recently there was another issue according to a resident, and I can't answer those questions. And I thought at that meeting, the Louth representatives or directors had the opportunity there and then to shut that conversation down by saying that no, there have definitely not been any issues. They should be aware of issues. And if they'd have said that, that would have shut the whole situation down. But they chose to keep quiet. And
sorry to interrupt. Is there a specific question to me on the report at this stage?
That's what I can't understand how it's got this far, because in simple language, if the directors were able to say that is incorrect, that would have shut the whole situation down. That's what I'm trying to say to you, because I'm no wiser, because half of what went on between I didn't hear over YouTube. So that's the only information I have available.
I mean, today the test is there a prima facie case for the council, for the complaint to go ahead, or whether you want to refer the matter further in depth, or to take no action on the allegation. You're not actually determining you can take no further action in respect to the allegation today, but you're not actually determining whether there was a breach or not today, just if there's a prima facie case on the matter.
Make the decision.
It's already been established that the code was breached. So it's a bit of an awkward one. And as Diane says, the directors at the meeting could have stopped it. This need not have got this far had they stopped Councillor Franks from talking about it.
Sorry, it's not been established that the code has been breached. That the question for yourself is the conduct. Did Councillor Franks conduct himself in a manner which could reasonably be regarded as bringing his office or the authority into disrepute? That is the complaint.
The councillors, any further questions of the Deputy Monitoring Officer?
In that case, I would say no, he hasn't. Personally, but then it's up to my two colleagues.
Councillor, it's not really for you to make that decision at this stage. You haven't finished going through the stages of this hearing. It's just questions at the moment. So
that's the question that's just been asked.
Okay, so do I take it that there's no further questions from the councillors? Thank you. So the next stage of the procedure is the monitoring officer summing up their case.
Yes, in relation to this, that the question is for you to consider if there is a prima facie case in respect of the allegations that you've heard that did what the councillor. Sorry. Yeah, the allegation is that the councillor spoke without a lack of care and attention and due diligence in checking the facts, and because of that assertions, it has the potential for causing significant reputational or economic damage to Luton and impact the public confidence in the council. You've heard Councillor Frank has responded by saying that he wasn't making any assertions, but he was seeking clarification.
Thank you. The independent person give their views.
At this stage, the only thing I would say is that the appendices, the response from Councillor Franks is listed as being dated the 2nd of August, but I don't think it could have come in before the complaint was made on the 11th of August. So Councillor Franks' response must have come in later than that. I don't want to comment on my views on the statements made by Councillor Franks, but I can see that there is a prima facie case what Councillor Franks said could be viewed by members of the public as lacking care and due diligence for his role as a councillor. Currently, that's my view. Thank you.
Thank you. The next part of the procedure is any advice at this stage. Councillors, the only advice that I give is to remind you of your decision making today. It's been set out to you what matter you are determining, whether the behaviour of Councillor Franks was a breach of the Code of Conduct. So your options for today are to refer the allegation to the Council's Deputy Monitoring Officer for a more in-depth investigation, to refer the allegation to another organisation for investigation, as has been stated, that probably only suitable where it's an investigation of criminal nature, or to take no action in respect of the allegation. Councillors, at that basis, unless there's anything further you need, you now need to consider whether you go into private or not before discussing and reaching a decision. So that motion's passed. So if I could ask everyone, apart from the members of the panel, Ms. Fraser, who's taken notes, myself, to leave the chamber, please.